Lizards start swirling around an animal that is clearly not dead and hasn't begun to decay for them to be attracted to it yet.
They were probably racist birds anyway.
Timon and Pumbaa ex machina. But my question is, why do they even give a
Maybe he'll be on our side. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. What if he's on our side?
Nathan Lane is always a win.
Kid, what's eating you?
Nothing. He's at the top of the food chain.
So, where you from?
It makes me laugh every time. Segway win.
Hakuna Matata.
Another fun fact, Hakuna Matata is Swahili and roughly translates to there are no troubles.
It means no worries for the rest of your day.
Even if you killed your dad, we promise that's not bad. Wait,
It is in Timon's best interest to file Simba's claws down.
cute song, but shaving his claws down like this is a horrible idea that only endangers him further out here in the wild, you dolt.
My friends never stood downwind.
And leave it to Disney to inject a verse about flatulence into a song about the carefree lifestyle. As they say, the bare necessities of life will come to you.
Seriously, fart jokes are the literal easiest, laziest comedy there is, and it bothers me to see them in otherwise brilliant films like this. Also,
And I got downhearted.
How did you feel?
Every time that
Hey,
I...
Pumbaa, not in front of the kids.
so it's completely okay to show and sound out farts on screen, just not call them by their name. Gotcha.
Every swing back and forth is a different pose, from trapeze to dirty dancing.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata glosses over the thing that made Timon an outcast. Did he murder a family of 4? I bet he murdered a family of 4. How A Bug's Life should have ended.
Hey, Grub, what's it look like?
Y'all joke about how tasty these bugs look, and I want to hear from every single one of you after you get back from the remake.
Hakuna Matata.
Slimy yet satisfying.
Ernie Sabella becomes Pumbaa. You know, there's no separation between voice and character. It's the best way I can put it. He's perfect.
Pecan?
Piquant or piquant. Seems like a good place for... I always forget about the Mickey ears. The only Easter egg Disney used to have. A lot of you recognize this frame from last week, and that speaks to the unique and vibrant palette of this movie.
Simba definitely wasn't interesting during the time he grew into an adult, so we'll tell that story and dissolves as he walks across a log.
A super fast bridge walking aging montage is the super fastest way to age and get those sexy lion locks. Seriously, as much as Gandalf was inspiration in high school for my long hair, who else can sing their hair to perfection? That's right, I want it to look like a lion. Pumbaa missed his calling as a high diver with that perfect 10 splash.
Azu can get his head between these bone bars, but not the rest of his tiny ass body. Scar wanted to be king for some reason. More food? Surely he had enough. More women? Knowing Scar, definitely not. So what the hell did he want from being king? At least King Claudius wanted to get a wife out of the deal. I don't see what Scar's motive is. The only thing he did was make the hyenas and lions live together. And then profits?
It's a small world after all.
No, anything but that.
Self-awareness from a megacorp in the 90s that hadn't even achieved half its megacorpness yet. I'll take it. At least when they own me, I'll know they recognized this song was annoying once upon a time.
Annoying Disney tune was around even in the time Africa existed.
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Julia and her best friend have been singing that to each other for years, and I'm just now figuring out where it's from. So it's another quotable line win. Always thought they were just huge Danny Kaye fans, a guy I just this minute found out wrote the original. Look, you impact my wife's life, you get a win.
On a scale of lazy-ass writing, burp jokes are literally one slot above fart jokes.
I always thought they were balls of gas burning billions of miles away.
Played as a joke, but at 9 I think I was more liable to believe the Firefly theory.
What mook made that up?
I'm wondering something. Did Disney ask Billy Crystal to do this voice? And when he turned it down, they got Nathan Lane to do a Billy Crystal impression?
Ah, I see they fixed the explicit message for the blue... Oh, wait. Is there still something in there?
Some of you think these flower petals spell out sex when Simba falls into them. I think a lot of you have dirty minds. Hey, look, I think I see a vagina in those flowers. Ninja Magic Medicine Monkey is so ninja, I wonder why any of this movie had to happen.
I love that little misdirect. He opens the fruit above his head like he did at the ceremony, but rather than something mystical, he just takes a bite.
Hey, Jungle, the lion sleeps tonight.
Movie about remote African animals simply jam-packed with pop culture references. You know, for kids. Thankfully,
90s kids were all very confused when they found out this song was not written by Timon and Pumbaa, seeing as Pumbaa's name is literally in it.
Thankfully for the resolution of the story, Nala wanders really f***ing far from the Pride Lands to hunt, and does so on the huge continent of Africa, in the exact direction where Simba is. Phew, close one there. Also, Nala, a freaking force of nature lioness, can't catch up to a freaking warthog.
saving your two buddies.
Wait, Simba should get his ass kicked in this fight. He's been living the Hakuna Matata life, remember? He hasn't never had to hunt or do anything badass his entire life.
Callback pin.
Pleasure's all mine.
Wait a minute. Pumbaa was food a minute ago. Are you telling me if someone vouches for him, he ceases to be food?
Lady, have you got your lions crossed?
Has any Disney movie loved puns more than this one? I don't think so, is what I'm saying. I realize they knew each other as kids and were betrothed even as kids, and that they're still the only two lions way out here. But still, this "hey, I recognize you, now I love you" seems rushed as hell. What?
Man, that's some realistic drinking with the tongue bending backward and everything. I'm not gonna call this flirting because you should never pull your crush into the water unexpectedly. What if she had her live phone or her turkeys on her? Or worse, what if she wasn't feline well? I bet she wishes she could Mufasa. I'm just saying, have a little sympathy, you know?
Well, they're not running away from any danger, but a sudden hill shows up again out of nowhere that they can fall down. Possibly so this G-rated film can have something that substitutes for a sex scene without alarming the MPAA.
That, on the other hand, is all like, what are you doing? I don't need a bath. Oh. Also, thanks Disney for not making two lions kiss. Well done. They just neck a little. Okay, I'm done. I swear, I promise.
If you don't do something soon, everyone will starve.
Why can't you do something? Why can only the heir to the throne we just now learned was alive do something?
Now are you satisfied?
No.
Postcoital argument.
Forget it.
Fine.
You know, this fight reminds me of another great love story. That's right. Doug Dorsey and Kate Mosley. He wanted to play hockey. She wanted to figure skate. How could they ever find common ground?
You said you'd always be there for me.
Well, he kind of dodged the question, but I know what you mean.
And we'll always be together, right?
Simba.
How can you blame us all for thinking the words were pink pajamas, penguins on the bottom, when Rafiki is singing about squashed bananas? You know, have I been overlooking Rafiki's beautiful beard? I think I might have been. Ooh, that water reflecting and bouncing light off the log. You know how I feel about reflections.
I know your father.
He's alive, and I'll show him to you.
I still find this a little offensive. I get it, it's sweet to remind him his father lives in him, but even though I saw Dude Bro die, you got my 9-year-old hopes up.
Rafiki gets Simba's hopes up again, only to show him the idea of his dad being alive as one of those metaphorical things. I think Simba would have been happier with one of those Hogwarts paintings of living dead people.
The director specifically created this scene to be something of a metaphor for Simba crawling through his own subconscious to get back to the heart of his problem and why he ran away in the first place. An undoing of his escape through the thorns after Mufasa dies.
He lives in you.
The power was inside you all along, cliché. Cool.
You know, I might credit Black Panther for making me look at this scene a little differently, which made me realize how dreamlike it is. Simba was just next to a small pool down some rocks surrounded by tall grass. Now he's in complete darkness, and by the end, he's out in the open again. So I don't think it's entirely literal. And we know he has a powerful imagination.
Part of the movie, I suppose, but would Simba have gone back to claim his throne without this supernatural dad vision? I feel like his character would have been stronger if he hadn't needed this vision to make the choice. Am I alone here?
You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me.
Yeah, maybe so. But he was a kid when you died. If you had this magical cloud power before, maybe you could have given him a boost.
What was that? The weather.
Leave it to Robert Guillaume to make a serious moment lighthearted again. Another consistent laugh for me.
I'm going fast.
Simba's going home, but you know what? This scene isn't inspiring enough. Let's add a shooting star. You know what? We need another. Okay, one more and we'll call it a perfect shot. Thank you.
Still gives me chills. Rafiki's excitement, the African voices singing with Zimmer's score, the shooting stars. Top-notch emotional manipulation. Lion-style desert fast travel. Aww, all his backup singers are dead.
And the vegetation all dies, the weather is terrible. Everything about this entire ecosystem is based on the sitting Lion King's evilness or goodness.
You guys have to create a diversion.
Oh, really? What did you plan to do if Timon and Pumbaa didn't make the trip?
What do you want me to do? Dress and drag and do the hula?
Nathan nailing his audition for The Birdcage. The greatest comedy to come out of the 90s. That's right, I said it. I made a definitive statement I definitely probably won't contradict at some point in the future.
Huge distraction caused in order to remove 3% of the hyenas in their path. Seems worth it.
Tell them who is responsible for Mufasa's death.
I am.
Tell me it's not true.
It's true.
Admitting when you at least think you did something wrong.
Simba tells the truth, but somehow doesn't give the full story, one that he would easily be forgiven for, even if it's 100% true. You'd think as an adult he'd be like, my stupid little kid roar caused a bunch of wildebeest to stampede? I think not.
Then you're guilty.
No, I'm not a murderer.
I mean, seriously, Simba makes things way worse by simply not telling the story. And murder? Does anyone in the Pride actually think baby Simba could have pulled off a straight-up murder of Mufasa? Lightning strikes nearby and sets on fire during the climax cliché. Wait, what the f*** is going on? Well, it's over now. Benson has joined the battle. Also, the was this asshole waiting for? The battle to turn in the hero's favor?
Yes. If Poe could have made it from Asia to Africa, Rafiki would have been an excellent teacher for Dragon Warrior.
Are you talking to me?
Now they're in for it.
They call me Mr. Pig!
Finally, Taxi Driver and In the Heat of the Night, together at last.
The 90s kids who grew up and saw In the Heat of the Night as adults thought it was weird Mr. Tibbs was quoting a Disney movie in a super racially charged scene.
You wouldn't kill your old uncle.
I mean, it's not literally Hamlet, although poison tip claws would have been a nice touch.
Run. Run away, Scar. And never return.
Hey, that's exactly what Scar told Simba to do earlier.
Embers in the eyes, that's brutal. But also resourcefulness.
Lynn does some bullshit to justify the good-hearted hero straight up killing them cliche. I'm sorry, I want him to win, for sure, but Simba has never been in a fight. Unless during that unimportant time where he was walking across a log and aged 5 years, he somehow joined a dojo or something we didn't see, he should get his ass kicked right here. Right?
Yep. Ha! Another callback move. He finally got it. A wise man once said, you can either run from it or learn from it. Comeuppance. Brutal comeuppance.
He comes to wash away the fire just in time for Simba to be king again. You'd think with this kind of higher power, there wouldn't have been a conflict to begin with.
From what I understand, huge wildfires like this can cause rain anyway, but a burn like this is probably what the Pride Lands needed for all that vegetation to grow back. So, a dramatic familial battle in a lightning storm is just what they needed. Hugging. Oh, that'll get you. I mean, I'm proud of you, son, and you've really come into your own. I'm so happy to see you fulfill your destiny. Would have been better, but still.
Simba does the thing that killed his dad in the first place. And in no time, all the vegetation and life grew back and began to flourish, solely due to the moral compass of the current king. Huzzah! Arranged marriages are always accurate and perfect, and you shouldn't fight them.
Get it? It's a circle of life. Oh, they did it again. Every movie should be bookended like this.
For this restless warrior just to be with you.
Who's gonna complain about a little Elton John closing credits? You weren't surprised, but happy to know that Nathan Lane, Ernie Sabella, and Jeremy Irons performed all their own songs. But pleased as punch to confirm Rowan Atkinson did too. Also, gun to my head, I would have said there were way more than 5 songs in this movie. It's kind of funny that in the teaser frame from last week, I mentioned this was a much more lighthearted movie, totally forgetting about the whole totalitarian versus communist side of this movie with hyenas being the outcasts of society for no reason other than that's the way we've always done it. But look, we're not going there today. There are a few different ways to look at it. We're gonna go with the one I think was intended. Today, we celebrate the good. Lion King is a kid's movie, and no one took that message away from this movie. Here are the lessons we did learn. It's okay to go home. Your family will always welcome you back. If your best friend growing up turns out to be a hottie who can pin you, it's okay to marry her, even if it's what your parents wanted all along. Hakuna Matata, man. The lesson isn't just don't care about anything. It's don't worry, don't dwell on things outside of your control, especially the past. Hand in hand with that, learn from your past and your mistakes. At its heart, it's the coming-of-age story of a son trying to fill his dad's shoes while learning the importance of humility.
I'm brushing up on looking down.
Even if you want to trash the royal family for being royal, every single thing Mufasa says to Simba is a piece of wisdom.
I'm only brave when I have to be.
It takes tragedy and trying out a different way of life for most of it to really sink in, but in the end, I like to think Simba takes what he was taught by Timon and Pumbaa back to Pride Rock with him. Doesn't hurt that they're like the new hands of the king. Another lesson, British birds will rise to power in the savannah, but British lions will be fed to their underlings because they fight for equality for all. No, got off track again. Look, it's not called the democratically elected benevolent lion leader. I really am mostly joking here. There are some problematic Disney movies. This one is at worst a romanticized look at a culture different from most of ours. The hierarchy in the animal kingdom is a necessary, I hesitate to even say evil, it just is. That when it falls apart, the whole system goes down. Hyenas aren't evil either, but they are in the movie. They just want without a thought of how it affects anyone else. And Scar uses their lust to his advantage. We know he has no respect for them. They're just a tool to help him gain and retain power. It's all outside the circle of life. Mufasa's goal is harmony for everyone in a stable ecosystem. The lions never take more than they need, and they maintain balance while keeping the Pride Lands safe. Just don't read up on how lion prides actually function. It's way more brutal than you'd think. There's usually only one male, and he likes to keep it that way. But the Lion King is way more than just a mixed message ideological power struggle. For one, it's stunning. Look at those shadows rolling over the gorge. The opening is still one of the prettiest of all time. And I joked about CGI, but it's funny listening to them talk about this new tech that was in its infancy at the time that's so ubiquitous now. Looking back, it's hilarious that Disney believed The Lion King would be a flop. The main reason? It's It's an original story, well, except for Hamlet in the Bible, but still, it's not based on a fairy tale or a well-established property. I wish this was engraved into the walls at every studio, but alas, it's just safer to bet on something you already know will do well. But you can't credit its success all to an original story and beautiful visuals or a top-notch voice cast. The music is some of the most iconic to ever come out of Disney. Thanks, Elton John and Tim Rice and Hans Zimmer and everyone who sang. I mean, The Circle of Life? That's a banger. The bottom of the list is Be Prepared, and even that's like a Broadway production, especially with Jeremy Irons' killer voice. As with most Disney movies, past and present, they took their time with every piece. Each name is essentially a description of the characters, like all of Jude's books that have Rabbity the Rabbit type stuff. They're just in Swahili, so you don't notice unless you speak Swahili.
Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa!
Mufasa is king, Simba is lion, Nala gift, Zazu movement, Pumbaa slow-witted, Rafiki friend, Shenzi savage. You get the idea. It's that type of attention to detail that you know goes into the entire project. Watching the behind-the-scenes stuff of the whole process really nails it home. I have a sneaking feeling that the ending to the remake may take some progressive liberties. I kind of hope it does. There will be some angry people, but we all need to move forward. Well, to be fair, people are already angry that they're even remaking it in the first place. And I don't disagree that it seems weird to just essentially upgrade the graphics since it's not really live action, but I'm someone who already pre-ordered Final Fantasy VII, so you can guess how I feel about that.
Can't put it out. It'll go right back.
And if I ever have $1 billion, I will give a large chunk of that to Hideo Kojima to remake the original Metal Gear Solid with whatever the modern day graphics and engines are at the time. Shot for shot, exactly the same. Don't care. Yes, I want to relive it exactly the same, but prettier. But that's just me. Point is, if the remake has something to say and a story to tell, I'm reserving my right to like it. Also, Mulan looks awesome, so who knows?
Good morning, Vietnam!
I guess even kings get scared, huh?
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Look at the stars.
Different flavors. I got them size. Shit, I got size, I got blades. Look at my
Greet the dawning of a new era in which lion and hyena come together.
Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
Eggs full of cobalt. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No, I am your father.
You can't change the past.
And the book says we may be through with the past, but the past ain't through with us.
It's my fault.
This is not your fault. Look at me, son. It's not your fault.
I know.
It's not your fault.
Simba's gone back to challenge his uncle to take his place as king.
Oh.
You have sentenced us to death.
Perhaps they had better do so and decrease the surplus population.